and I have one with me sitting in the studio with me right now, and we're going to talk to her in a few moments. But let me tell you about what's going to go on today. We're gonna talk to two candidates about their desire to run for office, two Republican candidates. And remember now, I always told you, and I'm not ashamed to tell you that it's okay, Democrats who are listening and watching, to vote for a Republican. It's okay because it's really not the party, it's the person. It's the same person who ideas are like your ideas. It's the same person who sits and worry about how the next bill is going to get paid. It's the same person who worries about education for our children. It's the same type of person who worry about the economy. It's the same type of person who worry about their day-to-day lives here in America and in the state of Delaware. It's the same type of person who says, if I can only do this or that to make my life a little better. And that's none other than Lieutenant Governor candidate, Sher Valenzuela. And she's a lieutenant governor candidate, and she's a very nice lady. All you ladies out there who wonders when are we going to get a true hard-working lady to represent us in high office. Well, we have one. We're offering you one, and it'll be your opportunity. It'll be an opportunity for you to join in with her and just listen to some of the things she has to say. I think you'll be very moved and very impressed because just because you see her on TV today doesn't mean that I'm not going to be with her and she's not going to be with me walking around in this community in the very, very near future. So having said that, why don't you say hello first, Ms. Lieutenant candidate for Lieutenant Governor.
Lots of words. Good morning, Councilman Brown. It's good to be here.
It's good to be seen. It's good to be seen. Why don't you tell the public, and I jotted down some stuff because I wanted to, after meeting you several months ago, I jotted down some questions because when Senator Copeland called me and asked me to host the show, I could have easily sat here and talked to you and brought on folks from the community to talk about my reelection and asking for folks to help me do 4 more years at City Council. But I wanted to help and make sure that the Republican Party get their message out. The candidates are seen and heard. So I wanted to invite you and others on the show. So I wrote down some questions, and I wrote one of them is what made you want to run for office?
Well, we started out, and I'll tell you what, to start with, I really appreciate what you said at the beginning in terms of who you are and where you come from. And if we are candidates that are true, real people, we're going to mirror what you are all about, and obviously we're going to be able to support one another because we come from that same point of view, I guess I would say. But my husband and I, as background to your question, Councilman, my husband and I have a business in Milford. We employ about 70 people, and we are industrial manufacturing producers. And by that I mean the kinds of things we're sitting on we would do in volume. We cover fleets, we cover the inside of the C5s with the insulation. That's a football field worth of insulation. So you can see all the different applications that industrial upholstery can be about. But the real beauty of that story is that my husband learned his craft from a mail order course when he was serving in the U.S. Army. It was before I met him, and he just took that one sewing machine. When we learned our son was born with autism at age 3, we pulled that sewing machine out, and he pulled out the craft that he had learned from a mail order course, and we set about taking in extra jobs because we needed to provide for the experts that would take our son out of the prognosis that the experts said that he would experience in his future, which would be not to be able to read, write, or communicate effectively. And so we knew that there had to be another outcome, and we knew that if we could earn a living beyond our day-to-day, week-to-week paycheck, that we could go further with our son. And so that was 15 years ago, and our son today is a first-year student at the University of Delaware, largely because praise the Lord is right, and praise, you know, the American system that allows people to jump as high as they can and reach as far as they can and go as far as they can go. We don't need anybody to tell us how limited our future is. We have an opportunity here to express the American dream, and we're an example of that. So when I saw what we could do with our business, and you know, my son inspired us to do that, family can do that, inspire you to reach for something beyond what you think you can do. We knew that we wanted to help others do that. We knew that we were able to produce jobs in Delaware, so we've got a background for that, and we also know that what's happening in Delaware right now, we can do better.
Well, you know, and that's very exciting to hear you say that, because you didn't say this to me back in the green room. We were sitting around talking, folks, and we were talking, I'm not in the bashing move in terms of bashing people or bashing party affiliations, but we were just talking in the green room, Sher and I, and we were talking about Democrat, Republican, how as a Republican, we would love to, because folks get turned off sometime by that name Republican, but we all bleed the same blood.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
We all struggle the same struggle. That's
right.
That's providing for your family, wanting the best for your family, and you brought that out just now, and we were talking about in the back how Democrats sometimes want you to stand in line, and they give you just enough to keep you interested and holding on, so they can give you and tease you with more.
Exactly.
And but yet still, we as Republicans will say to you, let us teach you how to fish.
Right.
So when you get hungry, you got to stand on the line. You can go feed yourself and your family.
Right.
And that's very touching. That you know, and I'm proud to hear that your son is in college,
yes.
and he's doing well.
Yes.
And that as a small business person, you have about 70 people that you employ, and so you're helping the economy in Delaware. Let me ask you this: the city of Wilmington is obviously experiencing serious economic challenges, and what needs to happen to spur business growth here, in your opinion? Because when I was going to when I announced my candidacy for mayor, mm-hmm. One of my goals then, or one of my platforms, was to enhance small businesses. Mm-hmm. How could you help us here with some ideas in Wilmington?
Well, we're going to help the statewide, for one thing, in economic development. And the lieutenant governor role can be directly tied to economic development. That's exactly what I would seek to serve the governor in that capacity as well. Obviously, we have a background of that. We've got a lot of common sense solutions that we're going to initiate, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel. The lieutenant governor in New Jersey, for instance, oversees the red tape cutting department. And red tape can stop or slow business growth. Obviously, we've got permitting issues, regulatory issues, you name it. And they're eliminating those one by one on a prioritized basis and measuring the difference in various cities based on which regulations are stopping job growth. Jobless economy also directly affects crime rates, and it's very difficult for businesses to succeed when they've got issues of crime breathing down their neck, and Wilmington obviously is struggling right now. I heard a direct quote from someone that was running, in fact, for the mayor, and said that, you know, for 40 years we've had these problems, we just need to try harder. And I'm thinking, for 40 years you've had these problems, you need to change a leadership here. Because if you don't have that directional change, you're going to keep getting the same thing, and I think that's called insanity. So we move, you know, expecting something different when you're doing the same thing as insanity, and we move with a different level of leadership. We move with a different level of job creation, which will directly affect crime rates, and I know that that is an equation that's working in other cities as well.
You mentioned a couple of things about the role of lieutenant governor. Mm-hmm. And again, folks, I'm being nice today. I'm not here to bash anybody. I'm just here trying to get you to see something. So follow me closely. Matter of fact, let me say this to you. Listen to what I'm saying and not how I'm saying it. That's the key. When you mention about the role of some of the role of the lieutenant governor, I must say that we rarely see our lieutenant governor here in the state of Delaware. I don't see him from one end to the other end unless there's a ribbon cutting ceremony or he's going to represent something in terms of giving out a plaque. Mm-hmm. Other than sitting at the Senate, overseeing the Senate and overseeing the pardon board, what role would you play? Because I think in order for a lieutenant governor to have some visibility, other than what I just mentioned that this lieutenant governor does, what role other than that would you like to see yourself doing? Because if you don't have a relationship with the governor, apparently there's something wrong that there's no relationship with the governor. That's probably why the governor's scared that he might run against him in this election. I don't know. Mm-hmm. So what would you do?
Well, the first thing I would do is I would be there full time. Right now, I believe that to serve in a part-time capacity for full-time payment is just simply not right. And when I learned of that, I thought to myself, no matter what that role is, you can't accomplish any job half-time. When you're paid full-time, I got a problem with that too. I can't imagine, I just have to say this, I can't imagine paying an employee to work for a full-time job or being employed to work for a full-time job and going in half-time and picking up my paycheck for a full-time job. So that's the first thing we have to look at. When the inaugural speech of my opponent, Matt Denn, he said that he was going to create a public safety program, and this is a direct quote, that would keep every street in Delaware safe. Now, first of all, I can't do that on a part-time basis. And second of all, it isn't happening. We've got worse crime rates than we've had 3 years ago, and now the phrase home invasion, the new crime, is something that we know up and down the state. So we have to put our emphasis where we need it. Our citizens have a right to to feel that they can live in their own homes in a safe manner, and they have a right to believe that the public servants that they're employing are going to be there in a full-time capacity and actually do what they say they're going to do. And that, in addition to the economic development initiatives that I want to incorporate into the state, which are based on best practices, I believe would serve our governor well and would do its service to the customer, which is the citizen as well.
Well, let me. You startled me for a minute. You caught me off guard. You're saying that you've heard this sitting lieutenant governor say that he was going to reduce the crime rates in the streets of the state of Delaware?
Yes.
Well, the crime rate in Wilmington has certainly shot up.
Yes, it has.
I know the crime rate in Newcastle County has certainly shot up.
Yes.
I know down in Dover the crime rate has shot up.
Yes.
So where do you think he's going to do this at? What state? I mean,
yeah.
I know he went to college in California and Berkeley or somewhere, and but anyway, he made that statement, and he's been in office long enough now to at least try to put an initiative together.
Well, and to be accountable. He promised that. I take promises seriously. I think you do. And a man of your word, a woman of my word. And if I say something to the public, I expect that they would hold me accountable. So, we expect to bring that to the table as the days and months go by.
Are you aware that Are you aware that he oversees the stimulus package money that was in here for?
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that, because we don't see it here in Wilmington?
No, we don't, and that's another issue that we expect to bring up and have an opportunity to discuss that, because this is the citizens' money. This is the taxpayers' money, and it has always been, I guess you could say, a passion of mine to be able to be accountable for a good steward, I guess I would say, of whatever it is that I have in my possession. If I have a paycheck, for my family, certainly if I'm serving the public, I have an opportunity to be a good steward of those resources, and those are taxpayer dollars, and we don't know, he was overseeing, the lieutenant governor was overseeing the weatherization program, which was supported by stimulus funds. And at the time that that was taking place in Delaware, that money was unaccounted for. It is not understood where the money went. It did not go to the intended programs it was meant to support. And the citizens have a right to understand where their taxpayer dollars went to. And so we intend to make that a point of discussion. And this is the kind of thing that allows voters to make a choice, an educated choice about, is this the kind of person, Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter, has to do with a vote, has to do with a vote of confidence for the person they're checking that box with. And I think they have a right to understand who they're voting for. In this election, we're going to help them do that.
Well, that sounds real good. Listen, time is running out, and I did have some other couple of questions, but and it was generated around economic development and economic growth. But you really hit the point on the questions, I think, about economic development, small businesses. I want you to take time now, because this is not the last time, ladies and gentlemen, that you're going to see this candidate. It's not the last time that you're going to hear from her, and I plan on putting on, I'm going to buy some new sneakers so I can see just how much I walk in terms of the rubber melting down, because I'm going to walk and knock on doors with you and your team.
I appreciate
here in
that.
the city of Wilmington and in Newcastle County. Because especially here in Wilmington, since I have to get out anyway, I've been out and knocking on doors, talking to folks, asking them for their help in re-election for Mike Brown. Now I will come along and ask them for their help, for your help in getting you elected as our next lieutenant governor, someone who will be visible, someone who will be seen, someone who has a feeling and knows what it feels like to start from the bottom and work their way up and making something out of themselves. Having said all that, I'd like for you to look in that camera. I'd like for you to tell the folks why they asked them for their support, and ask them and tell them why they should vote for you.
Okay, I appreciate that. I want an opportunity to serve the citizens of Delaware. I believe that they deserve good leadership. I believe that we will prosper together in all ways with good leadership. And I believe that Delaware has a unique destiny. I think that the DNA of Delaware is intended to be first. It has a history as the first state, and we have no expectation of being third when it comes to crime in Wilmington, the third highest rate in the country for cities its size. It needs to be first in safety. It needs to be first in economic development. It can be first. And I believe that Delaware has that unique destiny just waiting to be unlocked again. And with the proper leadership, leaders like Councilman Brown, leaders like the gentleman that's coming on next, Ben Mobley, myself, others that are running and that have concrete, common sense solutions, we can do this again. And I'm grateful for the support of the viewers. They can find out more about me at Sher2012.com. And I appreciate that they'll take a chance to get to know me in the days and weeks to come, alongside you and alongside others that are running good, solid party leadership that spans all parties and goes into the range of just common sense oriented, proven solutions that we can deliver to the state of Delaware.
Thank you for that. And again, at the bottom of that screen, can you put that back up one more time? Her contact is www.Sher2012.com.
That's right.
It's right on the screen. If you can write it down, we really would appreciate at least an ear to listen.
Yes.
You know, and then you make the decision. Don't let somebody else come and tell you because you belong to a union. I'm a union person, and I make my own decisions. Don't let nobody come and tell you because they're a Democrat and we Democrats got to stick together. But if you look around, it's the same old folks, and you're getting the same old stuff. So, you know, you might as well try to get something new and try something new for a change.
Sure.
So I'm gonna pause for a moment. We got another guest coming on, and I'm gonna ask you to stick around so you can come back on about 5 minutes before the show is over and have something else you might want to say.
Okay.
But it's a pleasure having you here. It's a pleasure meeting you several months ago.
Yes.
I look forward to working with you, and we're helping each other get elected here in the city of Wilmington, getting you some votes, and you becoming our next Lieutenant Governor for the state of Delaware.
I do too.
God
Thank
bless
you. Thank you.
Stand by. We'll be right back.